Okay, so it's Saturday, Saturday afternoon, 3:35, and I'm going to take the dogs for a walk and talk to the camera, talk to you, and say hello to you, Kim. Tell you what's going on in my life at the moment. Currently, I'm in the kitchen. I've got the two dogs with me, and it's been a weird day. Raining cats and dogs, and currently sunny. So yeah, it was hailing just a little while ago. And it's pretty cold outside. So let's see what we get. I wanted to do a film outside, and I've been all day. On last weekend the same, kind of hoping to do a video, and I didn't get around to doing it. So let's do it today, regardless of the rain or the shine. Okay, so let's go for it. So like the last video, Kim, you just saw of me, I was walking uphill, getting really puffed with the dogs. I'm also in the woods. Seems to be a running theme today with this. So, what can I tell you? Yeah, it's almost like a metaphor. Going uphill, life is a struggle, yada yada yada. I got an axe and a dog. So, what can I tell you? So, I'm gonna talk to the camera like I feel totally comfortable. I'm in the middle of the woods. I have two dogs here fighting, and I have some people hunting in the background. So, it's good times to be talking. Why am I here in Germany? So, I was living in Portugal for 4.5 years, and I'm not ashamed to say it was a struggle. I arrived just before the pandemic, and life was going actually all right for me before I got to Portugal. I had a lot of work. I was traveling a lot with work, so I was internationally located. I was just traveling all the time with doing photography gigs, and I didn't see why I should be renting in the UK. And just to back up in case you missed that chapter, I was living in Barcelona. I couldn't make ends meet, and after 2 years of trying in Barcelona, month on month I was losing money. So I decided to go back to the UK, retreat a little bit, get some work in the UK, and then figure out where I was going to live after that. I didn't ever want to live in the UK, and I did. And I went back to the UK, met my wonderful girlfriend Lisa. She's German, and she had been living in London for about 6 years at that point, and she was ready to move. She wanted to live somewhere sunny. We discussed the options of living in Spain and Italy and south of France, and with the opportunities she had with her job, she could relocate office to a different office. So all of that aside, we ended up deciding to go for the Lisbon office because it was somewhere we neither had been to before, and it looked like a good option. And I was just traveling all the time. It didn't really matter where I was based, so I was like, yeah, well, wherever we choose, as long as I've got an airport, I can fly out and I can work wherever. That was great until it wasn't great. We had the pandemic, and slowly, month after month, I got all my jobs cancelled, lined up for 6 months, and then nothing got booked after that 6-month period of having cancellations. And then after a year of no work, it became really challenging. I made that video in April, May, when I was kind of still inspired to do stuff, and I was thinking the pandemic was going to blow over and I'd have work at the other side, but it just didn't come back. And so I was stuck with a job market that didn't exist anymore. I was an international event photographer, and there was no events. And then there was travel restrictions here in Europe, and I didn't get, from Portugal I wasn't allowed to leave. You needed to have some sort of permit, didn't get them, and it just became a nightmare. I was not even fully registered as a resident in Portugal when the pandemic hit, so there was a lot of bureaucratic things I had to do and I didn't do. Anyway, let's just fast track a little bit. 2 years, well, 1 year became 2 years, 2 years became 3, and I reinvented myself so many times along that way, on that route, and it was ultimately constant failure. And I have to say, hitting rock bottom, you didn't know how far down it was. It just went and went and went, and I just kept hitting further down. Anyway, I don't want to be depressing about that. Life was, so I got the pups running around. I kind of hoped for so many things on this video, and I haven't got around to it. I was hoping to have at least 2 cameras filming, but actually with the weather it's not really worth getting them all out. I would love for you to see how we've got a golden retriever over there eating sticks, and Gus is the black guy. He's running around sniffing everything that you can see. So anyways, anyway, what I wanted to get to is I found that working in Portugal, the cost of living is actually comparatively the same as it is in London. Actually, London's quite expensive, and it was as expensive as London, yet earning potential was actually, fast forward the cassette, I ended up landing a job as a teacher. It wasn't something I'd entertained. I was happy being just a photographer. In the end, I landed this job as a teacher, teaching design, and it was my way out. I really loved this job. I really loved engaging with my students. I really loved the actual dynamic of actually sharing what I know with people and getting that feedback of them learning and seeing them learn. For me, it's really rewarding, and I didn't really ever see myself doing this. I think we get tainted by the idea of schools and being at school as a child and dealing with that divide. But working with adults as a teacher teaching adults, I really love it. I really get a lot out of it. Anyway, long story short, we've been debating a long time, Lisa and I, about moving away from Portugal, and she said that she would only be comfortable with us moving again if I had a job to go to, or had a job to help me move. And I mean, rightfully so. She had supported me for 3 years, and I can only imagine how difficult it was for her. I only know my perspective of the situation. I was going through a really dark time. I can only imagine what it must be dealing with a depressive for 3 years and supporting them. Nightmare. Anyway, thankfully she's a saint, and she agreed that we could move if I had the means to be able to move. And so I landed this job, held it down for 6 months. I was constantly putting money into savings so that we could move, and it also worked out almost serendipitously. Our landlord raised our rent by 60% last year, and so come January we were meant to agree to changing our rent to this new 60% price hike, and I'd already been saving money, so it was all this thing of, yeah, we could probably afford it, and we could afford it, but do I want to pay it? No, I don't want to pay it. I wasn't enjoying it. There was a lot of things I did not enjoy about being in Portugal, sadly. Don't want to sound too negative on it. I loved living in Portugal. It just got to a point where I just didn't have the stomach for the bureaucracy. I didn't have stomach for things not working as you'd like them to. Like I get frustrated with ineffective systems. Yeah, so we had the job landed at the same right time, so that I had money saved up. Rent went up, and we started weighing up options. And it wasn't immediately obvious that we were going to move away from Lisbon. We were looking at options, and all of the options were moving to a different neighborhood within the city. Then it was to move to a different city within the country, or move to a different region of the country. And then eventually we'll think about, what about Spain? I have family there. I speak the language. I have friends there. There's a lot of options for me to think about going to Spain. I'd love to live in Spain. However, from my previous experience, it wasn't so positive, and I was kind of hesitant, given that we had a really bad rough ride in Portugal. So I didn't want to repeat that. I didn't want to put that burden on Lisa again. So we talked about, what about Germany? There's a higher income potential. Cost of living is actually the same, if not less. We have Lisa's family here. It's green. I love it. And well, I think it was kind of an easy decision for me. I wanted to live here. I have to learn the language. That's a challenge. That's something that's really difficult. I have to try and get a job here. I'm still working the remote teaching job, but that's not going to be a forever job, and I would like to move into something more stable moving on. But I'm dealing with the cards I've got. The reason why I want to do that, not because I don't enjoy it, I love it. The reason I want to move on to a different job is mostly because I want to be salaried in Germany. Not that I don't enjoy the teaching. I actually really enjoy it. I could carry on doing the job. It's just the fact that social security, healthcare, and some other things are really complicated as a freelancer in Germany, and I'd just rather have a salary job. So that's me at the moment. This is the state of affairs I have. I have 2 children that look just like their father. Yeah, this is the deal. Anyway, where am I living now? Well, I'm not living in the forest. However, I live in the forest, so to speak. I don't currently, as much as I would love to live out here in the trees, my house is just down the hill. This is part of my land, and it is amazing. So my landlord is a friend of Lisa's parents' family, a family friend. And I don't want to go into too much of the details about his circumstances, but he has decided for his retirement that he wants to live in a tree. That's right. And he owns all of this land, which is pretty awesome. And this is Germany, so it's not quite Portugal, weird bureaucracy where you can raise the rent by 60%. And so what he's done is he decided to build himself a tree house. Let's have a look at this tree house. See if I can find a good view of it from here, because I'm above it at the moment, but we live on a hill. So let me get the angle right. Hopefully I don't fall off this cliff. Okay. So this is the tree house my landlord is building, and it hasn't yet been finished. So for some reason my landlord has decided to put a sign up. He normally let me go up there all the time. Maybe he's just painted it or something. But this is currently how he's got it set up. He's got it on 2 decks. This first deck here is gonna have like a I think he's gonna have like a shower there. I'm not too sure. He's kind of changing his plans all the time. And then upstairs, kind of just like one room with a kitchen and a bed in it. So pretty sweet. Well, I guess I should just close out by saying thanks for joining me along for this ride. It's been a long time. I like to make these videos. I really do, actually. However, it's challenging, but also it's raining. Dogs got restless, and wanted to end this up by saying thanks for joining me. I hope this wasn't too boring, and I hope that I can manage to commit to some sort of consistency with making these videos again. Now, don't get me wrong, I really want to finish that video series of what I did in America, even though it's now coming up to 10 years, so it's actually 9 years this year. Crazy. But I think what's so challenging for me, apart from the 4 years of living in a chronic depression, okay, or three and a half years of living in a chronic depression, the story, the learnt lessons of that trip, the learnt lessons of what I actually experienced from what I lived and how I perceived it in the moment and how I perceive it now are very different. And I'm trying to pull a better story out of it, because the take-home message of that journey, that trip that I took myself on, was more, it's kind of a learning lesson. It was a pilgrimage. I knew at the time it would be it would be a life-changing moment, and it really did become a life-changing moment thereafter. So I kind of want to do it justice and make a good story to tell. So again, I never did this YouTubing thing for engagement or audiences. I enjoy doing it for myself. I enjoy doing it for my friends and my family. And whilst I'm not ashamed to do things in public, I don't always do it for the public. So keep that in mind. I did certainly find I was very overwhelmed whilst I was on the trip. Whenever I published a video, I had a lot of comments, a lot of support, lots of private messages came my way. Actually, probably more than I got public comments. A lot of people wanted to help me, people wanted to influence me, people wanted to sponsor me, and I had to battle with all of that whilst also living precariously on the road, trying to make my own decisions, make my own choices, and trying to navigate my path on the journey that was true to me. So I hope you can understand that energy that I took there when I was traveling isn't the energy I live with today, and I've made very clear choices for myself not to be on social media as much as I was, and that's a positive. So I hope you can understand that. That's why I've not been publishing much. So yeah, okay guys, I'm going to leave you. Hopefully we'll make another one soon, but I don't know when that will be, but we'll do it then. Alright guys, bye.